Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible, ma? Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So in today's session, we will solve the mock OPPE2. All of you switch off your mic, ma'am. Okay. So the first question is, complete the given C program that takes a string as input and prints the number of vowels in the string. Write a function count vowels that takes a string str and the length of the string n as input parameters and returns the count of vowels in the given string str. Consider that all letters are in lowercase. So the program is, you are given a string separated by spaces. Okay. So you are given one string and the length of that string is maximum 100. Maximum length of the string is 100. And you need to count vowels. How many vowels are there in that? So vowels means A, E, I, O, U. And you are given that all the letters are in lowercase. So in the string, all the letters are in lowercase. So you need to find out. So you need to extract each character of your string and compare whether that is equal to A, E, I, O, U. Vowel or not. If it is a vowel, increase the count value. So that is the logic. Okay. So first, suppose if this is str, so we will take str of 0. Str of 0 means you will get P. Str of 1 means you will get R. Str of 2 is O. So like that, you extract each character from the given string till the length of the string and you compare whether it is equal to AEIOU. If it is AEIOU, then increase the counter. So that is the logic we use. Okay. So the code is, so from the input we use a fgets function to read the string. Okay. So this is fgets will have, why we have used fgets, why you have not used scanf is, scanf can read the string without spaces. It will read the string without spaces. If there
Gets read whole line.
it can't read whole line. Scanf cannot read the whole line. It will read only up to the delimiter comes. So if the space delimiter comes, it will stop reading it. So, but here we are given a complete a line which is, so a string with the spaces. So to read a string with spaces, there are so many methods. One of the method is fgets. Fgets function. It will take 3 parameters. The string in which you need to store your input. So that is input string. And the second parameter is the size of the string, and then from which device you need to read the input. So stdin is nothing but standard input device stream. Stdin is nothing but your keyboard by default. So you read from the keyboard, you read a string of this size, and that readed value you store it into this variable. So here the size of the input string we have already mentioned in the declaration, that is 100. So it will read 100 characters and that it will store it in this variable, input string variable. Now we will calculate, after storing it, we will calculate the original length of the string. So always the string will be terminated by a null character. So based on that, wherever you get the null value, based on that, strlen function will find the length of that string, and that value it will store it in a variable called length. Okay, so to the count vowels function, you are passing your string and the length of the string. So this is a count vowels function which will receive your original string is in str and the length of this is in n. So we will write a loop which will goes from 0 to till you get always the string will be terminated with a null value. So str of I value, if it is not equal to null, you check this. If it is equal to null means we have checked the entire string and then come out. Okay, so each time you are increasing your I value by 1. So when I value is 0, so you will get the 0th character, that is P. So we are checking whether that ith position, in the ith position of your string, whether you have the vowel or not, A or E or I or O or U. So because it is given that all are in smaller case letter, you need not compare that with the capital A, E, I, O, U. Okay. So if it is equal to any one of this, then increase your counter. Initially, we have taken the counter value as 0. Now increase the counter by 1. Then I gets incremented. So next character it will check. Again I gets incremented. Next character it will check. So how long it will check? Till we reach to the end of the string. Null value. Null means the termination of your string. Okay. So by the time you come out of this for loop, you will have how many vowels are there in this given string will be there in a counter, VC counter, vowel count counter. Okay, so it will return this function will return the VC value, vowel count value, and that gets, so it will be returned to this place and that gets printed on the screen. Okay, any doubt in this? So simple. Already main is given to you, just you need to write a logic which will count the number of vowels in the given string. So str is given to you, and what is the length of str is also given to you. So if you, instead of checking this, you can directly say I less than or equal to n also. Okay, I less than n also. Here, instead of str of I not equal to null, you can also write I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, because you know the length of the string. So you can check, so the string will be from 0 to n, 0 index, so the string will be indexed from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, here you can also write I less than n, because n is known to you, n is given to you. Okay, or you can also know that the string will terminate with a null value. You can also use this condition instead of using the length. So any doubt in this logic? Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, like you have not used a close bracket, like for closing and opening and closing the function.
Yeah, this is the opening of the function. This is the
No, no,
closing.
no.
Ah.
In the for, like it is two line.
Yeah, yeah,
If it
yeah.
is one, like then we.
Yeah. See this statement is the statement for. Okay. And if this is true, then only I am increasing this. Okay. So this statement is for this if. Okay. So no problem. If you didn't put the curly bracket also, there won't be any problem. So if you have a confusion, you can
Okay.
put it. Okay.
Okay. Actually, I know that if there is only one line only, but
Yeah.
here I saw two
Actually,
line. That's why I got.
yeah. Actually, this is a statement belongs to if, not the for, as our assumption. Okay. So if this condition is
Okay,
true, then
ma'am.
it will get incremented. For this This true, it, so no problem. Even if you have a confusion, you can put it, no problem. Okay.
Okay.
So test run that. So all the test cases were passed. Now see the second problem. Complete the function swap name. So this function you need to write. That takes a pointer variable which contains a string representation. First name space last name. The function rearranges it to become a last name space first name within the same pointer variable. Okay. So you are given a name which is in this form. First name space last name, something like this. John space Doy. So John is the first name, Doy is the last name. Okay. So you are asked to print in this format. First you print the last name and then print the first name. So your output should be Doy space John. Okay. So this string is given like a pointer. They're saying that this is given like a pointer variable and you are not returning anything from this function. Even then it should reflect in the main. So that means call by reference concept we are using to pass your string to the function. We are using a call by reference concept. We are passing the address. So whatever changes you made to that pointer inside the function should also automatically reflect in the calling place. So see, this is another way to read the string with spaces. In the previous example, we have seen that fgets function to read the string with spaces. So this is another way to read the string with spaces. In the scanf statement, you can use this formatting like till you encounter a /n, enter. Till you encounter an enter, it will read the string. Okay. And here instead of scanf, we have used fscanf. Fscanf means it will read same like scanf. Scanf will read from the input device, standard input device, that is keyboard, whereas fscanf will read from any device stream. Any device stream. That device stream will be mentioned in the function. So it will have 3 parameters. So the first parameter indicate from which device it needs, which stream it needs to read the data. Suppose if it is reading from a file, we use a file pointer here, and we want to read that string from the keyboard. So for the keyboard, the input stream is stdin. For the keyboard, the input stream is stdin, standard input device. So from standard input device, you read a string till you encounter the /n, and that you store it into this variable. Okay, that is the meaning. So you are reading till you press and enter. So when you press enter after giving the input, till that it will read the string and then it will store that into your variable. So this is another way to read the string with the spaces. So now, so name is a string variable now. So I am calling a swap name function with the name as the parameter because this is a string. String means a character array. So you are passing a array name to a function. So array name itself is the starting address for that array, address of the starting element. So here we are passing the address. We are passing the address. So the receiving variable will be a pointer. The receiving variable will be a pointer. Okay. Then we are taking the length of that string, and strtok is a function, string tokenizer function. Strtok is a string tokenizer function. It will tokenize the string into different parts by using a separator. Okay. So the separator that we are using here is nothing but a space. Okay. So this name is to be tokenized based on space, and that it will be stored into another string called token. Okay, another string pointer. This is another string. Character pointer is nothing but a string. So you are storing those tokens into this. How many tokens are there? Based on that, we are declaring another string, first name, length of your token plus 1. Okay, so you are copying this token. Like what it will do is, strtok will do is,
It will count the number of spaces in the.
no, it won't count the number of spaces. Based on the space, it will divide the string into tokens. Okay, so let me show you. So our name, suppose our string is John Doe. So when you use strtok, so it will read this variable, name variable. Wherever you space comes, that say whenever this space comes, so it will stop here, and this will be written like a pointer. So this part. Okay. So John will be passed to token. So now token is pointing to John in this case. So that is nothing but the first name. So you are given that it is in the format of first name, last name. So this is your first name. So now first name is pointed by token. So what we are doing, we are creating another string variable of required length. How much length is the token for storing the string, the length of the string plus one more extra space we need to take to store the null value at the end. So that's why the string size is declared one more than that required one. Strcpy will copy this token into this variable first name. So now John is stored in first name. Okay, so first name equal to, let us call fn. First name will become John. Now again, if you use strtok, it will read the next token. So when you are first time when you are tokenizing your string, so you need to pass the original string. To get the next tokens, we need to pass the first parameter as a null. strtok null comma space. That means it will take the previously already it is initialized with tokenizer, string tokenizer. From that string, it will read the next token. What is the next token? Doe. Okay. So now Doe will be written to the last name. Doe will be written to the last name, and you are copying.
What is the doing?
Like input.
Name.
Name.
Example.
Okay.
Last
John
name.
Doe. Okay.
Last name. You are given a string in this format, first name,
Input.
space.
Yeah, and it will just swap the names like.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this is the first name. Already we got that token here. Okay, strtok. First time when you are using tokenizing your string, you have to pass your string. To get the next
Okay.
tokens of the same string, we need to pass a null value. Null comma space means it will take the previous tokenizer, whatever it is there, from that it will read the next token. So the next token we are storing in last name. And that
Yes.
again you are copying into a variable called name. Your name now strcpy means it will be overwritten. Your name previously it contains John Doe. That is overwritten by Doe. It will copy
Yes.
only this first. Okay. Now after that we are concatenating. Strcat means concatenate space to the name. So we have in the name we have Doe. After that we are concatenating space. So after Doe it will include space. It will add space. Again we are concatenating name with the first name. So in the first name you have John. So it will concatenate Doy space first name. Okay. So you now you have reversed. We initially in the name variable we have first name space last name. That we have reversed it. Now it is having last name space first name. Okay. So as the same parameter, because name is a pointer, if you make any changes in the name, that will be reflected in the main function also. Even without returning, it will reflect in the main function, and that we are displaying it here. The name after swapping, after calling the swap function, that name gets updated there, and that updated value will be written back to the main without returning, because this is called by reference. We called this function by reference, by passing the address, not by passing the value. Okay, so that reflected value will be printed over here. Any doubt? Just we have used the string functions. The entire function we have just used the string function. So the string length will return the length of the string. strtok is a string tokenizer. So it will get the next tokens till you encounter the null value. So first it will take the first token. Then whenever you use strtok null comma space means till you encounter the null value, after each space it will return that pointer. Okay. Say suppose I have a string like this. This is an example. So when you take the first token, it will return this. When you take the second token, it will return is. When you take the third token, it will return an. When you take the fourth token, it will return example. Okay. So even you can put this statement in a loop till you encounter the null value. If last name is equal to null, you stop. Otherwise, you continue, so that you will get all the tokens. Okay, all the tokens of this string. Anyhow, we know that only there are 2 tokens in this string. So that's why we have used this function only 2 times. So this will get the first token, and this will get the second token. And we are storing the second token first. To that we are appending the concatenating the first token. So last token comma space first we are attaching. That means after the last name you will have a space. To that we are attaching the first name. So we are concatenating. strcat function will concatenate the 2 strings into a single string. So now the name will be a concatenated value. In the concatenated value, we have written the last name as the first, after that space, and then first name. So we have reversed that naming. Okay, because this is a call by reference concept. So you need not return the changed value. You need not return the name value. By default, it will return. Because when you pass a reference to a function, whatever changes you made to that reference variable will be reflected in the calling place also without returning. Any doubt in this?
No, ma'am.
So this here we have used all the string functions. So you include string.h. All the
Yeah.
string
Ma'am,
functions.
I want to ask one thing, that if there are in OPP there is not given the main function and whole the empty code given to us, empty page. So can we use the different logic?
Yeah, you can use a different logic, but you have to consider the parameters that were passed to you.
Okay. With if we want to use, if you want to solve this question without the strings, so
Like
without string,
yeah,
because we did so many problems like
bec-
swapping
bec-
the
bec-
numbers and
because here your input is a string. Definitely
yes,
you have to read it. Maybe you need not consider like a string, so you can know the length of it. So you read from ending to the beginning, put a loop,
yes,
you read one by one character. If the you check if the readed character is equal to space.
yes,
Yeah, when you append, you add that to another array. Each character you append that to another array. So like that, when you encounter the space, you store the null value there so that it will become a string. So that will give you more code. If you use a string, that will be easy code.
okay,
It's your wish. You can write any logic, no problem at all. But while writing your logic, you have to consider this as your input. Whatever
okay,
that is passed to your function, that is to be considered as an input. Okay. So
yes,
we will run the program. So all the test cases were passed. Generally, you'll have two simple questions, two moderate questions, and one difficult level question in general.
okay,
So overall 6 problems will be there. So you'll have a equal weightage to all the units.
okay. This is the ma'am mock questions we are
Yeah,
talking now.
yeah.
Okay.
Not only the mock, even in the original OPP also you'll have like this.
Yes, yes. But now we are discussing the mock questions now.
Yeah, now whatever you are discussing is the mock questions.
Okay.
So see the next problem. Um, Write a function sum of odd that takes a 2D array ARR and the number of rows and the number of columns of the array as input parameters. So you are given a 2D array, and in that two-dimensional array, how many rows are there and how many columns are there also given to you. The function returns sum of odd elements in the 2D array. Okay. So you are given the first value you are given is the number of rows. The second line you are given the number of columns. So based on rows and columns, matrix elements are given. So because 4 rows, 4 columns, so there are 4 rows like this, and in each row we have a four columns, 4 values. Okay.
Yes.
Now you need to, what you need to do is you need to read all these values. If it is an odd value, odd number, then you need to add it to the sum. So initially you take sum as 0. So you read the first value. Generally we read the values of a matrix row by row. We read first all the elements of the first row. Once the first row is over, we will read the second row, third row, like that. Okay. So first element you read from the first row, first element you read. So this is 1. 1 means odd value. So sum equal to, sum initially 0. Now sum will be 1. Now when you read the second value, it is even, leave it. When you read the next value, that is also odd. So that is 3. 3 is odd. So previously 1 is there. 1 plus 3, 4.
So
So
yes.
this is not odd value. So whereas this is odd value. 4 plus
Yeah.
5,
7 is also
9. 7. 9 plus 7, 16. 16 plus
Yes.
9, 25. 25 plus 11, 36. 36 plus 15,
15. Yes.
46 plus 5, 14, 40,
20,
51. So
51. Yes.
sum of all the odd values you need to find out. Okay. So
Yes.
then, so easy it is. Okay. Just you need to know how to read a matrix. That's all. So you here the main is not given to you. It is hidden. It will be there in the program, but it is hidden. Okay. So, but
Ma'am, we did not mention any main in that program because in yesterday's
see here it is mentioned that
GRPA,
main function is hidden. Do not write main function.
yes, because in yesterday's ma'am, GRPA there is not mention, I think, and I'm trying to solve that question, and there is given output as a main.
So
But,
this instruction will be given to you. This comment will be given to you. Main function is hidden. Do not write the main function. Okay?
yes,
So now see, this is the function. These are the parameters. This is your matrix, and this is the number of rows, and this is the number of columns. Okay. So how will we read the matrix? How many elements will be there in the matrix is number of rows into number of columns. Suppose if you have a 3 rows, 4 columns, so 3 into 4, there will be 12 elements. 12 elements like that. So first
yes,
we use a row for loop with the row value. So I value will vary from 0 to number of rows. J value will vary from 0 to number of columns.
of
And
columns. Yes,
yeah, this for loop is written inside this. The meaning is for each value of the row, this will be executed fully. Column will be executed fully. So that means for first row, the column will execute for 4 times. For the second row, again column will execute for 4 times. For third row, column will be executed for 4 times. For fourth row, column will be executed for 4 times. So always for each row value, whenever the I value changes, the J value will start from 0 to columns. J will vary from 0 to columns. So that this loop gets executed, the code whatever we have written inside these two for loops will execute for rows and column number of times. So row value 4, column value 4 means this code gets executed 4 into 4, 16 times. 16 times. So you are accessing ith row, jth column element. Ith row, jth column element. Say for example, I'll take a smaller 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have taken 3 by 3 matrix. 3 by 3 matrix. So initially I is my row, current row, J is my current column, IJ. Okay. So A, suppose ARR is my array, ARR of IJ, ith row, jth column element. Okay. So initially I value will be 0. So that means you are accessing the 0th row, first row. Okay. In that case, J value will vary from first time it will be 0, second time it will be 1, third time it will be 2. It will vary from 0 to 2. Okay. Again, I gets incremented to 1. Again, J value will vary from 0 to 2. So when I value is 1, J also vary from 0 to 2. When I value is 2, J will vary from 0 to 2. So here the first element that you will get the access is ARR of 0, 0. You will have the access to 0, 0th row, 0th column element. So this is the 0th row. So 0th row, this is the 0th column. 1, 4, 7 are the 0th column. So 0th row, 0th column means you will get 1. Next, you will get access to ARR of 0th row, first column. Okay. So this value is nothing but 1 for our case. This is 2. Next, you will have the access to ARR of 0th row, second column. So which is equal to 3. Okay. So you are accessing the ith row, jth column element. So you are accessing the ith row, jth column element. You are dividing the ith row, jth column element with 2 and take the remainder. Suppose if it is an odd number, you will get a non-zero value. If it is an even number, the remainder will be 0. So you are checking the division of this with the mod. If you do a mod 2 of that element, if you didn't get 0, if it is not equal to 0, that means this is an odd number. So you are adding that odd number to the total. Total equal to total plus ARR of ij. Initially total value is 0. So how many times this code gets executed? This part of the code will be executed for each element, and this part will execute only for odd numbers of those elements. If that part of the element is an odd number, then only this statement gets executed. So it will add all the odd numbers by the time it closes this for loop. So you return the total value.
It will encounter the odd number and just add it.
Yeah, if you encounter an odd value, then only you add it. Otherwise, not.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So that is the logic. So at the end of your for loop, you return the total so that this total will be the total sum of all the odd numbers.
Ma'am,
Okay. Yeah.
ma'am, why the what is the where will the constraints will be used? Like it is given row will be greater than 1.
Yeah, for
What is the meaning?
declaration. What is the size of your array? You should know, no? Like suppose if we didn't mention this constraint, if we didn't mention this constraint, and while taking this array, if you declare this as a 5 by 5,
Okay.
so it will take you'll have a internal test cases, no? Or private test cases will be
Eh,
there.
eh, okay,
There
okay.
we may give a matrix of size 8 by 8 or 8 by 10 or 10 by 10. So in that case, your code will not run for that particular private case.
Okay.
So
It
it
is
will become,
it is saying the size of the array.
yeah, maximum size of the array.
Okay. Actually, I got confused with it.
Yeah, this indicate the maximum size. Minimum you can have any
Yeah,
much
yeah. That
anything.
that I know, but I have not seen many times this equation will be limit will be given like this.
Yeah, limit will be given like this because there might be some internal test cases which will check this limit, whether you have
Yes.
your code is satisfying this constraint or not.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then we go to the next one. Complete the C program that verifies the validity of username based on the specific criteria. The validation rules are as follows. So, okay, you are given one username. Okay, so whether that username is as per the given rules or not, is it formed using the given rules or not, you have to check out. Okay, so what are the rules that are given to you? The first rule is username can only contain letters, the letter can be both upper and lower case, and the digits 0 to 9, and then underscore character. So like your variable identifier name declaration. So what is the valid rules for valid identifier name? So the identifier name can be formed using alphabets, digits, and an underscore value. So that is the first rule. Alphabet can be either smaller case alphabet or an uppercase alphabet. So second rule is username must be at least 8 characters long and at most 20 characters long. So the length of your username must be greater than or equal to 8 and less than or equal to 20. And the name should not be the name should not begin with a number or an underscore. That means starting character must be a letter. Another third rule is starting letter must be a starting character must be a letter. It cannot be underscore or digit. So fourth rule is username should not end with an underscore. The last character cannot be an underscore. So those are the rules given to you. Implement a function check username that evaluates the given username and return 0 if it is invalid according to the rules, 1 if it is valid. So if the given string is satisfying all the constraints or the rules given, then you return 1. Otherwise, you return 0. Okay. So the input to the function is username, check username, and is a pointer to a character array. That means he is saying that the given input is a string. So the check username function should return an integer value. That is, it will return either 1 or 0. If it is a valid name, it will return 1. If it is an invalid name, it will return 0. Okay. Say for example, you take this string user 123. So is it satisfying the first rule? What is the first rule? It should be formed using alphabets, digits, or an underscore value. So it contains alphabets and digits. So first rule is okay. Whereas the second rule, what is the second rule? It should start with
minimum eight correct.
Yeah, minimum 8 characters. So this is invalid. Actually, this is an invalid name because it doesn't contain 8 characters. It contains only 7. So this is actually given as a valid, but it is an invalid username as per the second rule. I think the second rule is not checked in the program, so that's why they gave it as a valid. Only
it is checked in the very first.
Yeah, we'll see it. But this is also an invalid username.
Yes.
Okay. Then username should not begin with a number or an underscore. Yes, that it is satisfying that rule because it is starting with an alphabet. And username should not end with an underscore. So at the end also it doesn't have underscore. So this is not valid as per the second rule. At least 8 characters long and at most 20 characters long. So it is not at least 8 characters. So only 7 characters are there in this. Whereas the second string is, so it should not start with an underscore. So here it is starting with an underscore. So this is an invalid. Both are invalid only here, whatever the inputs that are given. Okay. So we will check one by one rule. So check user function receives the username. Okay. See here. We are using reading the username and we are passing the username to the function. So it will return 1 or 0. If it returns 1, if like here, if it is 1 means true. Any non-zero value is true. So if true, then it will print valid. Otherwise, it will print invalid. Okay. So you received the username in this variable, and first we are finding the length of it. If the length value is less than 8, okay. Here 7 less than 8, true. Yeah. So if it is less than 8 or greater than 20, you are returning 0. Okay. So that means invalid. Second, if now you are checking the first character where it will be stored. If this is a string, at the 0th position of the string, first character will be there. So username of 0, this is the first character. We are checking whether it is equal to high underscore or last. Even last character cannot be underscore. Whether first character or last character, is it equal to underscore, we are checking. If any one of this is true, then again you return 0. So we are checking the half of the second rule, not the second rule, I think third rule, half of the third rule as well as last rule. We are checking both in a single condition. Okay. Now again, in the 0th position, it should not be digit. So digit values will be from, this is a character, ASCII value it will take, ASCII character value of 0. So is it between greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 9? So ASCII values will be in a sequence. So first you will have a 0 value ASCII, next 1, 2, 3, etc. up to 9. So this is character 0. So if it is 0, ASCII value it will take, when you put a single quote, it will take the corresponding ASCII value. Okay. So if it is greater than or equal to 0, less than or equal to 9 means the first character is a digit. So in that case also you return 0. So this is the checking of the, again, the third rule. Is it beginning with a number or not? We have already checked whether it is begin with an underscore or not. Okay. So is it all the rules now checked? So this rule first we have checked this rule, second rule, and we have not checked one thing, whether it is an alphabet, whether we are using any other special character in this. So that is, other than alphabets, digits, or underscore, am I using any other letter from the keyboard? So that you can check it here. Okay. So for all the strings we are checking, user of I is greater than or equal to A, less than or equal to Z means smaller case letters. Is it a smaller case letter or not? We are checking. Or capital A and less than or equal to capital Z means uppercase letter, we are checking. Whether it is a digit or not, we are checking. Whether it is an underscore or not, checking. So if not, I have put a not here. In this if condition, I have put a not. That means if it is none of these conditions, that means if it is not uppercase, not lowercase, not digits, not an underscore value, in that case, it will return 0. Okay, that means the string is not formed using alphabets, digit, and underscore. Some other character is there. So in that case also you return 0. So if none of, like when you use a return, your control will transfer to the main program. Suppose if your control has not transferred anywhere, it came and execute this statement, means that it satisfies all the conditions. So it will return 0 in that case. Okay. So based on the return value, we are checking, we are printing whether it is valid or invalid. Okay, test run this. So here all the conditions are satisfying. Here also it is satisfying. Why this is false? Because last character is an underscore. Here also last character is an underscore. Why this has failed? Valid. So this is a valid. Okay. Case 1 is also valid. Whereas all other cases are invalid. Okay. So this is a program from structures. You are given the following structures. So there is one structure called student. There is one structure called line. So the student structure has two members, name and height of the student. Whereas a line structure has 50 students data, pointer to 50 students array, and then length of the how many students are there. That length value also it is carrying, length of that array. Complete the function insert student that reads a list of student names and heights from the input and add them to the line while maintaining ascending order of the heights. The length variable should be updated accordingly. Update the line will be printed as the output. If multiple students have the same height, put the latest in the lower index. See here, how many students are there given? For each student, his name and height are given. So what we need to do is we need to arrange them. If okay, so we need to arrange these into another structure, say array line structure. We need to store, we need to read each value and store it in this line array. While storing, you need to store in the ascending order of their heights. You need to insert your student value in an array in a proper position. Okay, so this is your input. So as per the given input, so this is having the least height, so this will be stored in the array 0th position. This will be stored array here both the students are having the same height. So in that case, what he is saying, when if multiple students have the same height, put the least one in the lower index. So so here Alice came first, David came next. So you put this first coming value, you put it in the lower index. Sorry, yeah, last like this should in the order. So the recent one should be in the least index. Least index means first you should have the recent one. So the recent one, if you after reading this, you observe that there are two entries with the same height. So this recent one should be in the lower index. Means this should come first. Okay. After that, this should come. Index means 0th index, first value. 1, 2, 3, like that will have. So in the least index, you should have the latest reading value. Okay. So among this Ellis 160 and David 160, the recently readed one is the David. So this should come first. Then this Ellis should come next. And then Emily 165 and then Charlie 175. So you have to put your data while storing. You need to take care that you are storing in the order of their heights and display it. So we are reading student data, n students data from here, and this readed value we are storing in this array, line array. And while storing, you are storing in a order of their heights. And whenever you are storing one student, you increase the length of that structure. So that at the end, this length value will give you how many students you have stored. So what our functionality is, you need to insert one new student into this data. So you see, you are given n is your input. Input indicate how many students are there in the list. Next n lines is the student information, name and height. So these are the input, 5 students, and these are the 5 students. So output should display the updated line after adding the students, ensuring the order of their heights. So you add all these students in the order of their heights to your line and display your line structure. I think you understand the problem. Okay. So now we are given a string, and first you are reading what is your input, number of students. So you are reading the n value first, number of students, and you need to read all those student data. For reading all those student data, what we are doing here, n times you are calling this function. Insert student function you are calling for n times to insert all the n students data. To that, what we are passing the parameter to this insert data is a address of your line structure. This structure you are passing this structure. Okay. So it will insert one by one. Now you are at the end, you are displaying your line data. Okay. Line, suppose there are length students, len, initially it is 0, and we will increase that length value here, and till we have a 0 to that length, you are displaying that ith student data, student name and then his height. Now how you are storing in the order of their heights. So to this line structure variable is passed. That means in the line structure variable you have 2 members. One is an array, student array. The another one is the how many students are there, that length value. So we are first, because here we have received the line as a pointer. So to store the n students data here, we need to allocate the memory to this pointer. So student is a variable here, is equal to size of student memory you allocate and convert that into student structure. So that means you are allocating the memory to store one student data to this student variable. So after that, you read the name of the student and height of the student, because student is a pointer variable. So while accessing the members, we need to use arrow. So for this student variable, you are reading the name and height of the student. Okay. And Here the length variable, it will contain how many students data is there currently. So initially there are no students, so length value will be 0. If the length value is 0, now you want to insert this student into the array. So line arrow student of 0 is equal to student. It will store the first student in the 0th position of your array. So if like that, how many times this insert student will be called? If your n value is 5, it will call 5 times. If your n value is 10, it will call 10 times. Like that, for each student, it will be called once. So whenever you are inserting your student data, automatically you increase the length by 1. Here, line length by 1. Suppose if the line length is not equal to 0, that means there is at least one student data already stored in the array. In that case, where we need to insert? We need to insert based on their heights. So I am taking what is the length into variable I. Now if I is greater than 0, that means at least one record is there. And you are comparing student height with the line of student I minus 1th position, because I value is the length. Suppose length value is 2, that means there are 2 students. So those students information will be stored at 0th position and 1 position. So I minus 1th position, you will have the student height, that you are comparing with the, is it less than or equal to student height or not, you are comparing. So if it is less than, you insert. If it is not less than, you just move I minus 1th student data, you move to ith student. So like that, by the time you decrease the I value. So by the time you this while loop is over, when this while loop is over, if your length is I value reaches to the length, so I minus minus, it will go to the next student and then read, next student and then read. So if your height, how it will be storing is, first it will store 160. So when it is storing 150, it will compare with this. So this is coming before this, so it will insert here Bob Alice, then 175 Bob Alice Charlie, 160. Now if it is 160, when it comes to the Alice, it will match. So insert that before the Alice. So first David and then Alice. So like that, if after inserting either through if statement or through the else part, generally only first time when you are inserting, this if part will execute. For all the remaining cases, it will else part gets executed. So each time when you increase your value, you are increasing your length by 1. That means we are evaluating the records from 0 to length of 0 to length. So that will insert the student data in an array in this. Okay, each time when you insert, you are increasing the length value. So once this is over, because line is a pointer variable, so whatever updations that you done to the line variable will also reflect in the main. So it is now the displaying how many students are there, that length value. So it is displaying those student name and their height from the already stored value. Any doubt in this?
Mm. Can you please like fast recap it.
Yeah. See here, first we are reading how many students are there. So there are 5 students. So you put a loop which will execute for 5 times. Right. So here I kept a loop which will execute for 5 times. So that means this function is called for insert student function is called for 5 times. Okay. And while displaying the data also, it will be displayed 5 times. So insert student function is called for first time with the student details. So here I am reading the student details. First I am allocating the memory that is sufficient to store the student data. After that I am reading the student data, student name and height. So it will read Alice 160. So that now the length value is 0. So it will store line arrow student of 0. It will store Alice. It will store Alice. Even other data I am not storing. So Alice, and Alice 150 it will store 160. Sorry, 160 it will store. Next time again, so this task is over because length is 0. It has stored at 0th position, and then it will come out. This function will else part will not execute. So you are storing at this is the place where you are storing, and this is closed. So length will increase by 1. So now after inserting this, we have already inserted. So the length value will be 1. Now again, so it will return back to the calling place. So again it will come here, I value gets incremented. So when I equal to 2, so this will happen at I equal to 0. So now this what happened, I equal to 1. When I equal to 1, again it will call this function, and again it will allocate the memory to store the student and then read the value. Now this time length is equal to 0. This condition will not satisfy. So it will come to the else part. In the else part, what I am doing is, I is the length value taking. So whether I value greater than or equal to 0, I am checking. That means at least one record is there. And student height we are, so this will read this Bob 150, and it will compare this height with the existing height. Okay, suppose if that is less than, so it will move, this record is moved to student I minus 1th record is moved to the ith position. Now the ith position is 1, so it will move to student of 1. Student of 1, it will move Alice 160. Okay, and in this position you store the
It will be another name.
no, it will not be another name, only indexing will change. Okay, so the I in the ith position it will store I minus 1th element, it will move, then I gets decremented. Okay, then I will become I is the line length, like I get decremented. So previously we have only one record. So I minus means it will become 0. So then this while loop will come out. This while loop will come out. And then it will store in the ith position, it will store the student data. So it will be stored like from here, it moved here. and now I value, I minus minus, so I value will be 0. So at this position, it will store Bob 150. It will store Bob 150 here. Okay, and then length will become 2. So after inserting this, length will be equal to 2. Now it will read again, it will come here. Again, it will come here. Again, this function will be called with I value 2. So again, it will come here. It will create the memory, and the length is not equal to 0. So it will come to this else part. Already length value is 2 because we have inserted 2 records. Length value is 2, and it will check what is the current student, Charlie 175. So I value greater than 0, this is true, and height also greater than, this is also true. So it will store that student data, student height less than or equal to line student I minus 1 height. So this I minus 1 height is 160. I is the line length, already 2 is there, so I value is 2 now. So it is checking the last student. If 175, is it greater than 160? No. So it will store that value at line of student 2. It will store Charlie 175. Okay. So now, suppose if this is height is less, then this record will be moved to this record will be moved to this. Like that, it will move all the records down, and in the current position, it will store that value. So next it will read the 4th record. Suppose let us think that it has read the 4th record. Now by that time, length is 3. So it will check with the 3rd record, 160 less than. Okay, now it is less than. So this record will be moved to the next position, 8th position. Now this will be moved to here, and now it will compare with 160 again. David 160 and this 160 is matching, so this student is also copied to the next position. In this position it will be copied. Okay, and then so n value will reach to 0. When n value reach to 0, it will store the David. David 160. So it will store it like this. Next value is David 160 is over, Emily 165. So when it compare 175, this will goes down. So this will be 4th position. When it complete with when it compare with 160, which is 160 is smaller, so it will insert here. That record it will insert here. So at the 3rd position, it will insert Emily 165. Okay. So like that till the last record 5 times, because there are 5 records. So 5 times this will be called, and each time it will be inserting based on their heights. Based on their heights, in the order of their heights, it will insert. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
See the last question, which is on files concept. You are provided with the name of the input and output text files. Complete the function copy odd lines that read the given input text file, extracts the odd numbered lines, and write them to the output text file. Maximum size of each line in the input file is 200 characters. Okay. So you are given one input file name and output file name, and so your input has only the input file name it contains. The program should generate an output file containing only odd numbered lines from the input file. So your input is this. Input file content is given to you. Okay, as an input. You need to read one by one line. And while reading the one by one line, you check whether it is odd numbered line or even numbered line. So this is odd numbered line, first line, third line, fifth line. So these are the odd numbered lines. So it will, if it is an odd numbered line, that you copy to output file. So that is what you need to do. And so we need to read from the input file and check whether the readed is the odd row or even row. If it is an odd row, then you copy that to the output file. So input file is open in read mode, output file is open in write mode. This is the input file pointer, this is the output file pointer. And buffer size here they have declared 1000, but no need. Here constraint is given 200 characters. So you can declare this as 201 is enough. Okay, buffer size. And the line number. So initially, first we are reading the first line. So that's why line number is initialized as 1. Now we are using a fgets function to read the first line. Here 200 is enough. Maximum size 1000 is given. But in the constraints, they are given that no line has more than 200 characters. So from infile, see, from this file pointer, you are reading 1000 characters, and that you are storing into a buffer variable. And buffer so this will previously we have used fgets. Here we used stdin instead of file pointer. Standard input device file pointer we have used here. So if not equal to null means, so you are reading line by line. When you reach to the last line, you will get a null value. So there you need to stop. For that we have checked this. So now because the line number is 1, so 1 mod 2 will not be equal to 0. So it will write the first line to the buffer. For writing the first line, we are using fprintf. To where you need to write? You need to write to the output file pointer. And what you are writing? You are writing the string. So where is that string? It is there in the buffer variable. We have already read from the input file and stored in buffer variable. So that value you are copying into output file like a string. Okay. So now increase the line number by, like first line we have already written. Now you increase the line number so that it will go to the second line. So this while loop, it will read the second line again, fgets, and read the second line. and it will check second by 2 by 2 0, so it won't write that. Increase the line number, so the line number will become 3. So 3 is an odd number, so it will satisfy this condition and then store. 4 is not odd number, it won't store. Like that, all the odd numbered lines till you reach the end of the file, null value. Okay, so you read and then store. You read and then write it to the output file and increase the line number value. So like that, how long you need to do that is you are copying. Why we are maintaining this variable is whether we are writing the required line or not. Only odd numbered lines you need to write. That's why we are maintaining this first line. Each time it is increasing and it is checking whether the current line is odd or not. If it is odd only, it will write that file. Okay, so by the time you come out of this loop, it will read all the lines from the input file, and if it is an odd number line, it will write it to the output file. So close both the files. So the input file name is input, like you need not, because already parameters are given to you. Input file is this, output file is this, pointed by this. Okay, so to this program also, main is not given. Main you need to assume it. Okay, so you are reading from the input file, you are writing to the output file. When you are writing, if the readed line number is odd, then only you are writing. Okay, any doubt in this?
What about the end of file? Like
Null.
yeah. Okay.
So when you read the fgets function, when you read using fgets function, so if you receive a null value, that means you reach to the end of the file. When you read, so what happened when you read from a file? Suppose if you read first 1000 characters, your file pointer will automatically move to 1001th line.
Yes.
Now you are reading the second 1000 lines, 1000 characters. It will automatically move to the 2001. Next, like that, once it reaches to the end of the file, so it can't read there because there is no content. It will return null value there. So if it is not equal to null, then only we are checking whether current line number or not. So in not 1000, here you put only 200 because the constraint is given.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, can like we have used while loop, so can't it be done in a for loop?
For loop we can't, because when we go for a for loop is if you know the count, how many times you need to repeat the loop. If that condition is known to you, then you can go for a for loop. Here, that condition, we don't know exactly how many lines are there in the input file. So first, if you want to use a for loop, then you need to first count how many lines are there. How you will do that? First, you go to the end of the file. Suppose if you open the file in append mode, it will be pointing to the end of the file. You get the file pointer position. ftl function will find the file pointer position. So that will give you the total size of the file divided by number of records in the file. If you define and number of records, how will you know is the size of your like 200 is the size given to you. So total file size divided by that 200, if you give, you will get a number of records. In that case, you can put a for loop which will read line by line. Okay, if you know the size of the file, then only you can able to go for a for loop. So here we don't know what is the, how many records are there, how many lines are there in the input file. So that's why I'm using this, so that this will read the data till you reach to the null. Null means end of the file.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, in exam, there so much confusion came. Like when we have practice of using for loop. That's why I learned this new thing. Like when
Generally in files we won't use for loop. While loop only we use till not equal to EOF, or like capital EOF if you write, that means it will read till end of the file is encountered. Or not equal to null means, generally when you use a scanf or something, uh, scanf and printf will always return the number of bytes that it has read or written. So suppose if your string is 10 characters, so it will return 10. Each character will occupy 1 byte. So it will return how many bytes it has read and how many bytes it has written. So the readed number of bytes here is 0. Then in that case, it will be null. It will
okay,
return the null. You need to know how each function will work. So what input it will take, what output it will return, you have to know that. All file functions, f gets c, f puts c, f gets, f puts, f scanf, f printf, like all those functions syntax you need to know. What input they are taking, what output it is returning. Any other doubts?
no, ma'am.
Okay, then we will end up the session. So generally, see, first two programs are very easy, whereas the second two are from arrays and structures. So somewhat, whereas the last two are pointers and files, dynamic program. Okay, so somewhat more difficult. Structure and files are somewhat complex problems, whereas these two, arrays, matrices, is a moderate, whereas these are from basics before control statements. Okay, strings, like for second OPP you will have from strings onwards, strings, arrays, structures, files, those concepts you will have. Okay, good night.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good night.